Rotary Foundation should be very impressed with the efficiency of today's meeting because you're moving right along on schedule. Group Study Exchange began in 1965 as a unique cultural and vocational exchange opportunity for businessmen and women. The program is designed to develop professional leadership skills among young people to better prepare them to address the needs of their communities and the increasing global marketplace. Since its inception, the program has sent over 11,000 teams on exchange with over 60,000 participants. Our York Rotary Club has benefited by sending team members and team leaders to many different countries and helping host the team every year since the district began the program. And I can tell you that I'm a lucky beneficiary of this program. As I mentioned before, this is the last Rotary International funded group study exchange, and our district is planning to participate in a first ever non-Rotary International exchange to Buenos Aires in July of 2014, so more to come in the future. In the fall of 2012, our district sent a team of 4 non-Rotary young professionals and 1 team leader for a 4-week exchange to District 1010 in North Scotland. The Scottish team is now joining us today from District 1010, and they arrived in our region on Sunday evening, and they're most likely still jet-lagged. They'll spend a week here in York before they move on to Lancaster Mechanics, Burke, Harrisburg, and Hershey. Under the leadership of team leader Ian Dow, they are here to educate our district about the region and what makes it unique. Ian Dow is a retired mental health nurse manager from Aberdeen, Scotland. He is also a Paul Harris Fellow, so he is putting his money where his mouth is. He is a member of the Aberdeen St. Nicholas Rotary Club. He's only been involved with Rotary for 6 short years, but he's already held many leadership positions, including the Communication and Vocation Chair at the district level. And within his club, he has held positions of Secretary, Junior Vice President, Senior Vice President, President, and Chair of the Kids Out Committee. He's also very involved in the community in Aberdeen, including a Scout leader for 43 years, Assistant Chief Commissioner of Scotland, Regional Commissioner, and Chair and President of the Scottish Community Psychiatric Nurses Association. He's well-traveled, including traveling with Boy Scouts to Zimbabwe, Finland, Norway, Sweden, the World Jamboree in Thailand, Eurojam, and the World Jamboree in England. He has traveled on health scholarships to the U.S. and Canada to evaluate our emergency care systems, and on behalf of Rotary, Ian has taken part in national immunization days in India. He has also led a team of group study exchange team members to Rhode Island and Cape Cod, so this is his second term as a team leader. And with that, I can say Ian is without a doubt an involved Rotarian and committed to the vision of service above self. I'm most likely missing something from Ian's impressive bio, but at this time I'd like to turn the podium over to Ian and his team for their presentation.
President John, fellow Rotarians and guests, thank you very much for the very warm welcome and for the invitation here to speak today. Erin, thank you very much for that. How can I follow that introduction? I've heard so many things being said. Can I say that we are delighted to be here, and our hosts are so wonderful that none of us really will want to leave at the end of our 4 weeks. I'm indebted to John over there who could push on the slides for me and I'll do the rest of the team. We did arrive in Harrisburg on Sunday night, minus our luggage, which is still in Washington. But our hosts were so helpful to us, they stayed up most of the night, reuniting us with our luggage. I think we got to bed at 3:30 in the morning, so we are indebted to them for that. We are from District 1010. It is 89 clubs. Just keep moving it around, Bob, that's fine. And I'll introduce you to the team. The team come from most of in the east side of Scotland. From Kinross District, sponsored by Kinross District Club is Ruth. Sponsored by the Aberdeen Club is Erin. And Mike, sponsored by the Banff. Mike, sponsored by the Banff Club. And then Baruri sponsored Kirsty. I'm good at all. Kirsty, sorry, you're Aberdeen. When you're not in control of slides, I find it really awful. Thank you. I come from the northeast. watching me. I come from Aberdeen in Scotland. It's surrounded by whisky distilleries and castles. The small village where I grew up was Kemnay, and Kemnay is very famous for granite stone, which was used to build the Cenotaph in London, the Embankment in London, and many of the very fine buildings in Aberdeen. Here we see the library, the church, and a theatre, locally known as Education, Salvation, and Damnation. Another very fine building is Marshall College, now the home of the Aberdeen City Council, whose motto Bonaccord means acquaintance, or happy to meet, sorry to part, and happy to meet again. I'm a member of the Aberdeen St Nicholas Rotary Club, member of 6 years. I've been president for 2 years, secretary for 2 years, and as you've heard, this is my secretary who's had his change. So things happen in twos in our club. It's a small club with 22 members. I was very grateful to Scouting as part of my programme, because Scouting helped us in our club raise a great deal of money and got very involved in the End Polio Now programme. And I was delighted to go out to India. It was a real privilege to be part of the immunisation programme. But now I'm leading another team to raise money for a school in the Gambia, a school that has absolutely no money, no toilets, no water, just a lot of happy kids wanting to learn. And we are raising money to rebuild the school, hopefully within the next 2 years. So I'm retired. My passions are Rotary, Scouting, and theatre, and I'm indebted to the team in District 73-90 for putting together such a wonderful programme that does include quite a lot of theatre visits. Thank you. Now, enough from me. I'm going to go down and work the screen, and I'll hand you over to Ruth.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Ruth, and I'm the sponsor of York Ross and the District Rotary Club. And I'd like to thank Rotary for this fantastic opportunity, my first visit to the United States, and the itinerary is amazing. As you can see, I'm from Perth, which is a very small city in central Scotland, and it's based on the banks of the River Tay. It's also known as the Fair City, named after a publication which was written by Sir Walter Scott. It's also known as St John's Tomb, and as I don't have my own local tartan, our local football club is called St Johnstone, so today I am sporting their tartan. It's also home of Spoon Palace, which is where the Stone of Destiny resides. This is a stone which was involved in ceremonial services for kings and was taken down to England, but we got it back last year. St John's Kirk is also an architecturally and historically significant building within Perth and dates back to the 12th century. Previously, Perth was a major exporter of linen, leather, bleach and whisky, but following the decline of the whisky industry, is now more a retail centre and diversified to include insurance and banking. This is my family. My mum, a part-time clerical administrator, a granny and childcarer, and also keen crafter. My stepdad is a retired civil engineer and an avid football supporter of our local team. My brother is a policeman, and my mother was grateful that he ended up on the right side of the law. And obviously my gorgeous 3-year-old niece, Ellis. I work for Perth and Hanover Council, and I've done so for 22 years. 11 years as an architectural technician, but then diversified and moved into health and safety. As you can see from the pictures up there, these are some of the things I come across in my work. The top right-hand picture is obviously showing good practices with regard to manual handling, but I don't know if the people at the back can see, but at the bottom left-hand corner, this is where health and safety quite often goes wrong. These workers were putting in bollards to prevent pedestrians being hit by passing vehicles, but in doing so, the men left their vehicle inside while they were fixing the boiler, so are now unable to get out. So. These are just some of the things that I have recently been involved in as part of my work. The top left-hand corner, the Work Positive programme, is a programme that we use for stress management. Obviously with the recession and budget cuts, staff are regularly being asked to increase their workloads with less staff, less money, so it's a big programme we use often. I've also been heavily involved in asbestos management, particularly with our workforces who go out and maintain our domestic premises, and we have been delivering awareness and training sessions for these operatives so they know what they're to look for when they're out on work. The bottom corner emphasises the occupational health side of things. We've always been very good at looking at the safety elements of the workplace and maybe not quite so much at the occupational health impacts of that. So we're looking at projects now along those lines. And obviously the training, I develop and deliver training and awareness sessions for our occupational staff. My hobbies and interests, I am a keen motorcyclist and I am part of an all-ladies motorcycle group. As part of that, we do a lot of charity work for local charities. So the top is our end-of-season dance where we get to blow off a bit of steam but also raise money for charity at the same time. The top right-hand picture is me. I undertook a 10,000-foot tandem parachute jump last year to raise funds for the Stroke Association. So I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie as well. So I'd just like to say my inspirations are on the screen, but I'm delighted to be here. I've already in the 3 days I've been here gained so much and I'm looking forward to sharing that on my return home. So I'd like to say thank you and I'm now going to pass you on to my colleague Mike Smith.
Hi, my name is Mike Smith. I'm 27 years old and I come from a small fishing village in the north east of Scotland called Portsoy. Here's a picture of my father on the screen. The bottom left picture shows my mum and my dad. It's actually my mum's birthday today, so happy birthday to her. The middle picture is me with my sister, my dad and my mum. And the top one is my sister, mum and grandma, and that's taken on a very rare sunny day in the north east of Scotland. Portsoy was established as a borough and a charter signed by Mary Queen of Scots in 1550 and was one of the first ports to be developed along the north east coast. The town's most famous export was Portsoy marble, which was extracted from a local quarry, and it was most famously used for 2 chimney pieces in the Palace of Versailles in France. The town hosts the traditional small boats festival every year, which draws thousands of tourists from all over the world. And the coastline where Portsoy is situated was recently voted in the top 10 most scenic coastal areas on the planet by National Geographic, which will continue to host tourism in the area. One of my main hobbies is travel. In 2010, I took a sabbatical from work to travel the world with my 2 best friends. You should know that I don't always get help. On our trip, we went to New Zealand, Australia, Fiji, and then up to the Soccer World Cup in South Africa. And we took in some fantastic experiences along the way. I should say that Scotland never qualified, as usual, because we never do, for the World Cup. So we opted to support the United States, but that was only because they were playing against England. And that was just for you, Paddy, who you live. We then went on to Southeast Asia, traveled throughout Southeast Asia, and then finished the trip in China, which I found to be a fascinating country. Although I soon found that some of the locals weren't used to seeing 6'5" ginger hair guys. And some of them didn't disguise their feet very well. As you can see in the right-hand picture, I don't think I got to know what that guy found so intriguing. I also play sport and watch a variety of sports. This is me with my current team, Devonside Football Club. I played semi-professional soccer since the age of 17, and this was taken up with one promotion last year to the North Super League. I'm going to include some action shots. However, as you can see, they usually do you no favours. This is the town of Banff. This is the town where I played football, where I played It's one of the most historic structures in the region. I worked for the local authority, Aberdeenshire Council, for almost 10 years as a civil engineer in bridge maintenance. We're responsible for approximately 2,000 bridges in total, and our primary aim is to ensure the safety of the general public. Our secondary aim is to maintain our structures to as high a standard as our budget allows. However, our structures are always vulnerable to a number of factors. This was highlighted when this 200-year-old bridge near to soil where I stayed suffered extensive damage after a catastrophic flood event. I was on site monitoring the deterioration of the structure when this happened. And you don't have to be a civil engineer to know that. Ever since I've been involved in the rebuild of the bridge, which was opened in February this year, so it was very interesting to be involved in the cycle of building the structure and the rebuild and replacement. So I feel privileged to be taking part in this group study exchange opportunity. I know it will be a life-changing experience, and I look forward to taking many things out of it. And I'll now hand you over to Kirsty.
Thank you, Mike. Hello everyone, my name is Kirsty Doole, and I'm a solicitor with Aberdeenshire Council, a local authority based in the northeast of Scotland. Pictured here on the bottom left are my parents at a traditional Scottish wedding, and on the top right is one of my grandfathers with two of my little cousins. My grandfather from the previous picture was a native Gaelic speaker and came from the Isle of Skye just off the northwest coast of Scotland. It is renowned for its beautiful and dramatic scenery such as this picture here, and it's also renowned for having many dinosaur fossils being found in the island, which is another reason why it's become such a popular tourist destination. Skye is also home to many crofting communities, and this is actually my aunt's croft on Skye, where she keeps a flock of her own sheep. Lately, however, she's been keeping a lot more of the lambs than she ever intended because my little cousins keep naming them so she can't part with them. My aunt's croft is near Staffin, one of the main towns in Skye, and the area the croft is in is called Coolnack in Gaelic, which means at the back of the wee hill, and sadly that is the extent of my Gaelic knowledge. My grandpa grew up in Skye in a traditional black house like this one pictured here, though I should point out without the double glazed windows that are pictured in this slide. These black houses were common in the Scottish Highlands and were traditionally built with dry stones and always had a thatched roof. They housed not only the family but also their livestock, so my grandfather grew up with quite a few siblings and a lot of sheep. However, he later moved to the village of Skelmerley, which is on the west coast of Scotland near the city of Glasgow. As you can see from the top picture, it is a lovely leafy village just on the banks of the River Clyde. It is a very close-knit community that hosts many local events and ceilidhs, and it even has its own castle pictured here in the bottom, which was built in 1502. As I said, Skelmerley is very close to the city of Glasgow, Scotland's largest city. It is home to 3 universities and is known for being a lively social hub full of many pubs and theatres. Glasgow is also famous for its shipbuilding industry, and in fact the QE2, Queen Elizabeth's own steamship, was built in the area. It was also home to renowned architect and artist Charles Benny Mackintosh, and one of Mackintosh's original designs, this lamppost in the centre, can actually be found in the church in Skelmerley where I grew up. Skelmerley is also in the same local area as Alloway, the birthplace of Robert Burns, and obviously the poetry of Robert Burns is known throughout the world. And as a child, I took part in many local ceilidhs and competitions performing Burns songs and poetry. Unfortunately, I haven't done this in a while, but I have been told that my teammates would be more than happy to treat me to a song or two. Nowadays, however, my main hobby and passion is amateur dramatics. I'm a member of Phoenix Theatre, a company based in Aberdeen. We mainly put on musicals and pantomimes, but we also do a lot of corporate entertaining for oil companies and charities. It's great fun, and as you can see from these pictures, it allows me to dress up in a variety of ridiculous costumes. But while I may dream of Broadway, I actually work as a senior solicitor in Aberdeenshire Council's legal department. I wanted to be a solicitor for many years, not least due to the influence of the amazing
courtroom lawyer Alan McNeil. My main roles at Aberdeenshire Council are to advise the social work and housing services on legal issues and also to represent them in court. I have the lead role in working with the social work service on matters relating to child protection and also securing alternative homes for children who can't live with their parents, usually due to abuse or neglect. This can obviously be quite distressing work, but it's also very rewarding. I also have a role in working with the Council's housing service, in particular to evicting problem tenants, which can be interesting to say the least at times. As part of this work, I regularly appear in all of the courts throughout Aberdeenshire. Another important part of my job is to provide training to colleagues in other services on relevant legislation and also to prepare them for giving evidence in court. So, what do I hope to gain from the GSE experience in Pennsylvania? Well, essentially, I want to learn more about local government and the legal system in America, and to meet lots of new people and learn new things. So, thank you very much for having me.
Hi everybody, I'm Kelly McConvey. I come from Aberdeen. Aberdeen is the third largest city in Scotland. It's got a population of approximately 250,000 people. It's known as the Granite City, and the Gaelic translation means the mouth of two rivers, and both the River Dee and Don flow into Aberdeen. Since the discovery of oil in the 1970s, Aberdeen has also been known as the oil capital of Europe. Prior to that, industries such as fishing, paper making, shipbuilding and textiles took place in the city. It's seen human settlement for approximately 8,000 years, and in 1647, an outbreak of bubonic plague killed a quarter of the population. My family, my mum and dad, my brother Andrew, his partner Jill, and my niece Lily, they all stay locally to Aberdeen. The photos there were taken at a wedding in Italy last year. Got my black Labrador Jet, she's 8 years old. My niece and her are great friends. My niece often will mimic the dog. This came to light a couple of months ago when she stayed on a sleepover. The two of them, it went quite quiet, so I thought I would go investigate. The dog came out of the kitchen looking slightly bemused, and I looked into the kitchen. The lady was on all fours drinking out the dog's bowl. So since then, her visits are closely monitored. For work, I'm a detective sergeant with Police Scotland. They formed on the 1st of April this year when the 8 Scottish police forces merged into one. So there's one police department covers Scotland with 17,000 police officers. Prior to that, I was employed by Grampian Police for 11 years, carried out a mixture of plainclothes and uniform patrols. I'm currently, as I said, detective sergeant. We deal with the more serious crimes that occur in our division. A mixture of serious violent crimes, serious sexual crimes, and homicides, as you would call them. Thankfully, we don't get too many of them. I've been involved in a number of large investigations, but unfortunately, the paper clipping that's on the slide there got the most publicity. A cow who escaped from a local abattoir and gave us a run around in one of the villages. We did capture it, but unfortunately not before the photo opportunity there. Also within the division I work is Balmoral Castle. That's the Scottish residence of the Queen and her family. That was purchased by the royal family in 1852 by Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. In front of the castle there are the police pipe band. They were formed in 1907 and are made up of police officers, members of the public and civilian staff. They take part in competitions worldwide. Also within the division are the Cairngorm mountain range. 4 out of the 5 largest mountains in the UK are within that. So we have the police and mountain rescue team, which is supplemented by volunteer groups. The highest unbroken plateau is also within that area, and fauna that are found in the Arctic are also found at the top of that. Again, as I said, with the oil industry in Aberdeen, we have certain responsibilities and jurisdictions for certain things that are offshore. In my spare time, I like to mountain bike, hill walk, and also play basketball for the police team. Further to the points in the slide there, I just look to improve and expand on my public speaking, and also just look to meet and learn as much as I can, which has been a great time so far, and I thank you so much for that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. As you can see, a very enthusiastic team. We're having a wonderful time. We look forward to the next 4 weeks, just under 4 weeks, spending the time with you all here in Pennsylvania. I don't know if it's time for questions, but if anyone does have any questions, the team will be delighted to answer. Not that I know of, no. It's not one that I can remember, no. Yes.